Marriage is meant to be a bond between two people, but sometimes the loudest voices in a relationship don't even come from either partner. My wife, Rachel, and I had been together for 6 years. Like any couple, we'd weathered our fair share of highs and lows. But recently, something started to shift, not between us directly, but around us. Her friends, especially two of them, Tanya and Belle, began to inject themselves into our relationship little by little until their influence was impossible to ignore. They didn't like that I was quiet and reserved. They didn't like that I worked from home while Rachel thrived in a high-pressure corporate job. But more than anything, they didn't like that I conformed to their mold of what a husband should be: loud, dominant, flashy, and constantly trying to prove something. Rachel wasn't always like that. She used to think for herself. But slowly, under the constant drip of their full empowerment, their voices started to replace her own. Every disagreement we had became ammunition. They twisted, "He's controlling, he's dull, you could do better." And just like that, I found myself feeling like a stranger in my own marriage, a third wheel in a life we were supposed to be building together. Then one evening, Rachel came home with a certain smugness in her voice. "I'm going away for a week with the girls," she said, barely masking the condescension. "Sort of vacation," she continued. "Tanya said I should take some space, to let you miss me. Maybe then you'll appreciate me more." I blinked, trying to process it. Appreciate her? I hadn't stopped paying attention. She just hadn't noticed. "It's like I'm invisible," she snapped when I didn't react. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I just nodded. And in that moment, something shifted in me. She expected panic, desperation, resistance. What she got instead was silence. And from that silence, a plan began to take shape. If she wanted to play games, to teach me a lesson, then maybe it was time I offer a few of my own, to her and the peanut gallery that treated our marriage like entertainment. The next morning, I made 3 calls. First, to my lawyer, to update the prenup and lay down contingencies in case this lesson turned into something permanent. Second, to a real estate agent. Third, to a moving company. For the next several days, I lived in a kind of calm determination. I reviewed every shared financial account, cataloged our belongings, and took photos of everything I'd owned before we married. I even scheduled the locks to be changed the day she was due back. And then I got to work cleaning, not to win her back, but to wipe every trace of her friends' presents from our home. The wine glasses they gave us, boxed. The cheesy Boss Queen throw pillows from Belle, gone. The framed girl power, quotes Tanya gifted her, removed. The house began to feel lighter, less like a stage and more like mine again. On the 5th day, I got a text from Tanya. "Hope you're missing Rachel. Maybe now you'll learn to treat her better." I didn't respond. I took a screenshot, saved it in my evidence folder, and smiled. They still thought this was a game. They had no idea what was coming. 7 days later, Rachel returned. She walked in, expecting fireworks, expecting a man on edge, desperate and guilt-ridden. Instead, she found a pristine home, quiet and orderly, but noticeably stripped of certain things. Her confident smile faded as she looked around. "In storage," I replied calmly, "along with a few things we need to talk about." I motioned to the kitchen table and placed a folder in front of her. If other people are going to be involved in how we handle problems, then we need a new system or none at all. These are revised documents, a separation of assets. If you want out, we'll do it cleanly. She went pale. "Wait, what? I never said I wanted a divorce." "You said I needed to learn a lesson." I said, standing. "Well, I did. I learned that you no longer respect me enough to work through issues together, alone. You've handed the steering wheel to people who barely know me, and I'm not going to live like that." She stared at the folder in stunned silence. Tanya and Belle weren't there to guide her this time. It was just her. "And me that I didn't know you felt that way," she whispered. "Because you never asked. You've been too busy being their project. I loved you, Rachel. Still do. But I won't be manipulated." That night, she broke down. Not in anger, but in realization. She admitted she'd lost herself somewhere along the way, that their voices had become louder than her own, and certainly louder than mine. I told her to take real space this time. Not a performance or a passive-aggressive absence, but actual distance. 30 days to figure out what she truly wanted, without the noise. She came back. But this time, not just physically. She returned with clarity. She cut off the toxic friendships that had nearly destroyed our foundation. She apologized, not just for walking away, but for letting strangers influence something as sacred as our marriage. And though it took pain and silence to get there, she learned something important. That love isn't about proving worth through absence. It's about presence, loyalty, and respect. She walked away hoping I'd miss her. But what she didn't expect was a truth she'd find instead, that I was never afraid of being alone. What I feared was already having been left, emotionally, long before the door ever closed behind her.